Buddy, welcome to Man versus Tech, 11 a.m. Central every Wednesday. We got Kyle Souza here, Chris Pettigrew. We're here to talk about technology, all the cool stuff about it, and talk about how man adapts to the technology. So today's webcast is really all about future-proofing your job or your career.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that, I think more and more we are taking on technology, we are taking on supplemental devices, programs, information that is supplementing our jobs and maybe even sometimes replacing pieces of our jobs. So how do you grow and how do you stay ahead of the tech at the end? Right? So I think we go back to the age-old question of someone's going to take our jobs.
Yes.
And we need to be fearful of that. They took our jobs.
Be very afraid.
Be very afraid. So when the automatic carrot picker showed up, all the carrot pickers lost their jobs. And when the pesticide people flew planes, you couldn't walk out and just spray it anymore. I bet he was upset.
Yeah.
Do you think he learned how to become a pilot?
I don't think so. I don't think he made that switch.
So as usual, we start off with a couple of tech news. Today is all one big theme at the end of the day. So we're going to be talking about some pretty cool, awesome tech news. That's pretty amazing. Our first one here is Kyle liked to explain it to me a minute ago, is that, Henry Ford started the assembly line, right? Utilizing humans to put together a vehicle faster than a group of humans could do before, all by individually doing something or a piece of the puzzle to roll cars off the assembly line. Model A Ford.
Yeah,
right?
and that replaced jobs, and that didn't require robots. That was just a better way of doing things.
Yes, I have pictures of old GM plants in Detroit where there's like 7 guys around an old Cadillac, and they're all in there screwing things together, and the hood's open. Someone's putting on this, and someone's putting on that, and they're like walking the assembly line as they're installing something, and then go back and do that same job again over and over and over again while they're pushing out General Motors vehicles. So I don't think our conversation is really any kind of new thing to talk about because it's just innovation, right? I mean, the telephone, the light bulb, whale oil to electricity.
Yes.
Rockefeller didn't like that very much, at the end of the day. So even when very powerful people are involved, it seems to be that the necessity of advancement happens, whether you're rich, poor, or anywhere in between. And I think that we're in a day and age that we're starting to see that more and more and more. During this conversation, let's just talk about, again, future-proofing your job, right? So what do we got in the news today?
So Amazon has a new robot that can handle millions of different products and could replace human workers. That's the Fortune.com headline. Basically, it's a picker bot. Amazon has warehouse runners and pickers and different jobs inside of Amazon warehouses where they have these distribution centers that have everything that is available for sale on Amazon.com. And they need to house it in different parts around the country so that they can get it to people within their 2-day shipping window. That they go
5 to 10 p.m. today, baby. That's right. That's what I need.
So they have people that go, oh, this order came in. Go get that item. Put it in a box. Get it out the door. People are expensive. People complain. People want to unionize.
Oh,
but people have needs that bots don't have, and so if you can replace people with a robot, companies are going to try to do that, and there are pros and cons to that. Also, aside from money and complaints, but it costs less money, right? I mean, you've talked about it. Going to McDonald's, you order a person. Yes, I'd like no pickles on that. Half the time you still get pickles. Repeat yourself 2 or 3 times when it's a special order for the human to put it in right.
It usually is the human, yeah.
But if you walk up to the kiosk or you do it on your mobile phone and you put a special order, it comes out, no questions.
All the problems after using the app in many places since, and I think that became popular pre-order. Sometimes you even get discounts and free things.
Yeah.
My order comes out right. I'm in the 90th percentile.
Yes.
And I order some strains at the end of the day. So I boiled it down to the person on the other end of the didn't know where the button was, or wrote down a different way, or didn't follow a procedure, and then that order gets pushed back to another. Well, I'm taking a McDonald's and treating it like it's some kind of big company here, but the cooking area, and they're just following what's on the screen. Only following the teleprompter. They're not. They're Ron Burgundy. They're going to say and do whatever it says. So, for me, I like for a lot of things. However, I will say that reading this article, I kind of read through it a little bit, and I like the fact that Amazon is taking the thought, in this particular, working with our employees, Sparrow will take on repetitive tasks. That a lot, right? How many things are just repetitive? Square peg, square hole, square peg, square hole. I still get a kick out of watching that YouTube video of like the girl and bucket, and there's the shapes, and the guy likes to stick everything in the square hole because it fits.
Yes.
And it right, but it wasn't, the half moon, and she's like, put it in the half moon. And he goes, it's in the square hole. And
but that's great because it could be for safety too. I mean, these warehouses are tall. They've got these giant shelving units. If for two people to do that safely, usually you have to have one person hold the bottom staircase. You're rolling staircase. You have to lock it. You have to make sure it's locked. Somebody holds it. Somebody goes up. They grab an item. It can't be too big of an item. Have to then bring it down safely. They might have to make multiple trips for multiple items. If you've got a bot that can just zoop, 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 pick it up and bring it down to the human that stays on the ground, it's safer for the human.
It is. I've ran warehouses in my day. I've worked in warehouses in my day, and safety is huge. You're right. All the different things you have to do to go 10 feet in the air, 50 feet in the air, forklift driving. The fact that you take out usually the things that happen in a warehouse or in a large facility like that is human error. Somebody overloads the forklift or doesn't drive it properly, or goofing off. Like you said, two people having to hold a ladder, one person spotting, the other person grabbing. I can tell you when I worked retail, people would climb up onto the handrails of the ladder sometimes, and we would tell them, like, don't do that. But, they just wanted to get the product down because merch stacked it too high. How they did it, I'm sure they climbed on the rungs of the ladder as well. Those are all violations of safety. So this kind of reminds me of a thing that Walmart did a little while back, where they've installed these kind of tall rectangular bots that would roam the aisles, and they would scan the shelves for inventory, and basically a real-time inventory scanning machine. It just roamed Walmart, right?
Where are the holes that need to be filled?
It knew how to stay away from, like, when the things were busy and if the aisle had a lot of people, it wouldn't go down. It would stop and wait and wait till it had an opportunity. But it was like real-time inventory, and Walmart looked at it as something really big as far as restocking the shelves faster to sell more product, right? Faster the shelf, faster the customer, faster out the door. Everything's just faster, more efficient, more money's made, and that's the American way. So they implemented this in a bunch of stores across the U.S. It was quite a few, actually, a lot of California, a couple in Texas, and it failed horribly. And the reason why wasn't the inventorying, it wasn't the fast ordering system, is that people got freaked out by this big robot walking around the store.
I can see that.
And when they would turn down an aisle, they would see this thing that they're not used to, and they didn't know what it was, and it was some space. And they would just literally walk away from the aisle. They would have it on camera that they would just be intimidated by this machine.
Stay away from the different.
Yes, and even to the point where people started complaining to management. They were wondering what it was doing. Was it taking pictures of them? Accusations started flying. It was a stalker. So it's Walmart
following me.
Yeah,
I love it.
Walmart had to kill the program. For our webcast here is, they're going to go in and automate these repetitive tasks, right? I think management wants to automate anything they can, and like you said, no unions, none of that stuff. You don't have to worry about employees, and that's just to me just probably been the goal of any company over time is to continue to evolve, adapt, and make more efficient and reduce overhead.
I mean, companies are in business to make money.
Yeah.
We have to do that. And and think about it, repairing a robot could actually be more expensive than repairing a human, but I'd rather break a robot than break a human.
It's true. I would rather see a robot fall from 50 feet in the air than I would see a human fall from 50 feet in the air off a forklift trying to get down a television. You know, what a waste of life for someone's TV. The things that we do, go back to, if you ever go look at how they built like skyscrapers, and a long time they would, like, those guys would just go up there. I would fall and die in a heartbeat. I'd probably puke. I don't know. I'm not scared of heights, but watching some of the acrobats that they did to build buildings, that humans do to work are very interesting. At the end of the day,
all that.
Yeah. And so looking back at that now, we're like, that's crazy. And the safety hazards and whatnot. And you got, guys jumping from being like it's not a big deal, like it's a circus. You got to adapt, you got to pull on technology, but there's also backsides to everything, at the end of the day. Let's go put these robots to work and, interface them with the human, interface them with our workforce. There are goods. And I'm going to take all my lawyer friends out there. Shout out to all my lawyer friends, but here's an opportunity for you to pretty much kind of like crush the whole idea. Companies make money. Automation is a great way to do that. Bringing in things to automate, depending on how safe they are and what the tech, how much research has been done, is the key. And you can make $1 million for 10.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it at the end of the day. And so I think a lot of our technology is stymied by legal reasons.
I think so too.
I think we'd be way further ahead than where we are today in a lot of stuff if it wasn't for legal, stopping things. And on the reverse side, tragic accidents that happen and do hurt people. And Hindenburg was a great idea at some point, and then it wasn't. And so we got to also remember that scenario. But it's good to see. I like the headline was, good to replace jobs, while, of course, every headline is a little exaggerated. But, looking at what Amazon's thinking. So I'm interested to see what it can be. And the kids were the other day, we were watching YouTube, and my kids love McDonald's. They just, like every kid probably loves McDonald's. I don't like buying McDonald's all the time for my kids, but it's fun to get a Happy Meal as a kid and whatnot. Yep. So my oldest daughter asked me, "Hey, Dad, how do they make the French fries at McDonald's?" And of course, I'm like, "YouTube, baby, let's go to YouTube." So I type in, "How do you make McDonald's French fries?" There was a whole, like, how it's made. It wasn't how it's made, but type of thing that had to do with like how they made the burgers, the soft serve, the French fries, and it starts from beginning to end of each piece, like where they go pick the potatoes and the farm they use. And to watch what they do, I think we start off with the buns themselves, and they produce something like 3 million buns every week or some, maybe even a day in this fact. I don't know what they're doing. It's a crazy amount to feed McDonald's buns for cheeseburgers. And it's all done by robots. There's not, even the selection process of the quality. There's a scanning camera that looks at the amount of seeds on top, and it kind of use like an air gun to pop the bun off and throw it into the bad bin. The way it was shown, the potatoes, the cutting, the whole nine, like everything that's made had very limited human interaction in these factories that pumps out. I mean, McDonald's, which is a worldwide huge corporation that has to feed you junk food at the end of the day.
And while it does, that may have replaced some jobs, there's now nobody losing fingers on that assembly line.
There was a lot of opportunities to lose fingers.
Yeah.
A lot. Even got into like Heinz ketchup, and that was the one where I probably saw the most safety. No, nothing against Heinz. Bottling, brewing, making it, all the different things. And I thought to myself, boy, if you were to have your hand in that, how easy that would be to get in.
Go a little
too far. Next thing you know, you're part of the fries, or your hand is. And but it was really cool to watch the mass production of something that we consume as people. All for the end is like being made by somebody in a store, though. Like they have not automated the beef patty to drop out of the bag, roll onto a conveyor, go through the steaming motion, because they showed how they made them. It was all done by people. Although there's a very factual way and a structured way they must go about it, and certain tools that they use, and it's all the assembly line type of process, but it's all people at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
even though the origination of it all comes from basically gigantic factories that are automating almost every bit of it.
Yeah.
So, can you really always keep your job if automation comes across?
You can't always keep your job, but you can keep a job. And here we can turn off the sharing there. But what you just talked about was one of the ways that you work with technology is what I like to call last mile services, right? Took that from the logistics side of things. But just like you were talking about, okay, there's not humans in the factory slicing and dicing all the potatoes for French fries and putting them in bags, but humans do have to come in to get that food cooked into the customer.
Yes.
Right. So one way to work with the automation that may be replacing your job or part of your job is to work around it. What is it that it can't do? And either come in before that, after it, or alongside of it. And, it's supplementing you, or maybe you're supplementing it. Your machine needs to be serviced at some point. So while that factory may have used to employ 500 people to produce all the food, they may still need 100 people to manage the facilities.
Yeah.
And before they had fewer people managing the facilities because they had fewer machines. So the facilities team went from 20 to 100, but the worker team went from 500 to 100, So overall smaller, but that's one way to work with it. There is automated agricultural things, but a lot of farming still has a lot of handwork in it, right? Even if it's the transportation, we have talked about automated drivers and stuff like that, but we're not there yet, at least. So,
and even we talked about the limitations. Mm-hmm. Point A to point B is one thing. The rest of the driving is a whole nother
unloading it
situation. Yeah.
And maybe you don't want to or can't be the unloader, but this is how you work before or after, or like I said, at the restaurant itself, actually cooking the food. Is that a better use of human time than cutting up potatoes to be frozen? I don't know. It's up to each individual to decide.
I will say standardization was the key, or was the goal at the end of the day. So I watched the movie The Founder, Ray Kroc, and I don't know if you ever seen the movie, but the guys came up with the Speedy system, and it was a way to make things fast.
I love that. What's this? It's your food. I just ordered it like a minute ago.
How did you do that? And I resonated with that moment. I was like, yes, I do stuff like that too. That's cool. And all those guys did was come up with an assembly line idea of how to pump out the most consistent drop of ketchup, most consistent drop of mustard, a cheese, a bun, this many, and then they, even in the movie, they had them like practicing the guys, the interaction between the system they created and the people to do it, and then just timing it like a military drill at the end of the day. And I think we still kind of operate in that type of idea. When I was watching that McDonald's thing the other day, the one thing that they got out of the machine that they were not getting out of the people that were doing it prior was always having the same thing. Mm-hmm. Right. And so what I really want to challenge McDonald's to is that they actually fill my fry thing up all the way every single time. Yeah. They're able to make a potato and a fry that tastes the same, looks the same, is the same. I mean, the employee at the back of the McDonald's puts the thing into a dropper. It cuts the bag and drops it into the thing, fries it for a certain period of time, pulls up the thing. It's all done for you. Okay. Yeah. But then the person sifts my fries.
Yes.
The failure of my fries at McDonald's is not the machines. It goes back to the person again. And then my large order has white at the top of the thing. And I'm like, this looks like a medium fry. Yep. And I'm the type of guy that'll walk up and be like, I didn't get a large.
Yes.
Even though I don't even eat all my fries, but I pay for what I get. Right. And so I still think that it's very interesting when it comes down to the interjection of machine and what it does do. I find it gave it consistency across the board.
It does. I mean, because McDonald's has automated the drink dispensing.
Yes.
If you order a drink, a bot drops the cup, puts it into a little holder, it portions out, okay, no ice, light ice, regular ice, extra ice. You got 4 settings. It puts it in there based on your order, and then it knows how much drink to put in. And you're right, it's never full, right? Because they don't want to overflow it, and they need to leave a margin for error. So you can have a little gap in there, but it is fully automated. Aside from now, put a lid on it and hand it to the person. You still need a human for that.
Yeah, so this like rings a bell home with me. One of my first jobs ever was serving cookies and drinks over a counter, and I did not know this because I never worked in the food industry except for that job. But there's on the side of your cup, you go to a fast food restaurant, whatnot. There's lines on there, and each of those lines have to do with something an employee is supposed to do, like an ice level, a drink level. A certain drink gets this certain line, and you as a consumer don't realize it because it doesn't say this is ice level. It's something that you're taught.
Yeah.
So in order to get us to do consistency and delivery of a certain drink going out of the company a certain way, we had to follow those lines. And so you'd fill and you'd look on the side and your ice would go up to a certain point. And then you would go to the machine and fill it up and the drink would go to a certain point. And then you could cap it and it would be just perfect. Like this whole idea that was thought out, right? But at the end of the day, I can tell you as a human, if you were really rude to me, I might just give you some extra ice.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you're really awesome, I might not give you extra ice and like lower it down a little bit, give you some extra soda.
Yeah.
It was always 10 cents more for the bigger one, right? And come to find out that 10 cents was like a full dime they were making, because when you actually measured out the cups, there wasn't much more soda being given.
Yeah.
Especially with the ice balances.
I worked fast food and I did the same experiment.
There's all these things that are in there, but the human is definitely the play factor. So, as the McDonald's or the fast food, and I see these at a lot of fast food restaurants. I've watched the drink guys, they stick them in there. It comes to the order. And as long as, funny part is they actually like have to still put the cup, but they put the cup and the rest of it's done by the machine. Right. Yeah. And then they take it off and they cap it. And that's the other thing they need to learn how to do, because half the time they don't cap it all the way and it spills in your car. Humans, take pride in your job. So, is this can you survive the automated drink machine? Is it even possible?
I think you can. Because like I said, there's that last mile, right?
Put the cap on.
And there is also personal touch. One thing that we've seen a lot of people, whether they be, I'll use a couple buzzwords, right? Boomers up on the high end of the age spectrum, or that Gen Z down just now coming into adulthood in their late teens and early 20s. They miss a lot of the personal touch that we used to have. There is a pushback against Walmart and Target, these grocery stores, with self-checkout. You have a lot of people self-checkout. Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk to a human. I can do it myself. I don't want to wait in a long line. Fine, I'll just do self-checkout. You got like people like Bill Burr will be like, no, I'm paying for these groceries. You're going to check me out. There are people.
I've seen the comedy special. It's funny.
But you got people that want that personal touch. And I will say I do like that. Sometimes I do self-checkout. Sometimes, when I have enough items, I go through the large line. It is nice to have a cashier to talk to. And so personal touch is something that a robot can't replace, So I think that's one of the ways to survive. And then there is also new skills, right? We talked a little bit about being the person who repairs the item. But one big thing is that robots can't innovate, right?
Yeah.
Robots do what they're told, and they do what they're told generally well, very repetitive, but they can't innovate. They can't say, okay, well, I am doing this process of A, B, C, and then a human takes over to do D, E, F. What if we could do A, C, D, F and lose B and E? What if we could drop two of those steps? The bot will never think of that.
Right.
And so that's another way for humans to stay involved, stay relevant, stay ahead of that curve with replacement, is saying, okay, you know what? We've got some bots that'll do the job, but can we do that better? And now the humans are managing the robots, basically.
Which is how it should be. Yeah. I mean, I love the digital pads at restaurants. I too, self-checkout is okay and not okay. I have my own opinions on that. And I guess sometimes I do use it and other times I don't. It just really depends on what you're doing at the end of the day. Some jobs are just meant to go away.
And that is a really good
It's just
point.
how it is.
Yeah.
I think how long have they been talking about drone delivery?
For a long time.
It's one of the things. I mean, I've seen commercials for decades, and I've yet to see one drone delivering anything.
I think we had in the Jetsons.
Yeah, maybe in the movies or the cartoons, but Still there's an Amazon truck daily up and down my street,
Oh yeah.
a UPS, a FedEx, a USPS truck, delivering all of our goods. I mean, that's a human job
Mhm.
that should kind of be automated by now, but technically
Yeah.
hasn't been automated.
Yeah.
Although I think they're pretty swift. So I think it's interesting to see. The reason why I bring that up mainly is because home delivery was something that was really big. I guess maybe post World War II. You get your milk, you got your paper, people are pumping your gas, you had all this service, right?
Yes.
It was all people servicing other people, and and then today you don't pump. I would love for someone to pump my gas. I would go ahead and compensate that, so I don't have to get out of my car, and someone just pumps my gas. They, whatever. Why not? And that some of that stuff is coming back, and in the service industry.
Full service gas stations are coming back.
Service at restaurants, service in the airport. Somebody was talking about flying the other day. They had never flown back. I don't want to say how old I am, but I remember flying where it was like a big to do.
Pre 9/11 for sure.
Yeah, you would get wings as a kid, and there was always something. And you got to go visit the pilot.
You got a good snack and a drink.
They treated you like royalty, and now it's like riding a Greyhound bus. And people are starting to want something more back, but they don't realize what they've lost because that was, the customer service aspect of things is kind of gone away with the fact of just speedy delivery of things, right?
Yes,
the mega warehouses
and the race to be the cheapest.
Yeah.
With inflation, price is a big driving factor.
It really is. It really is at the end of the day. So I think there are just some jobs that are just going to get phased out by technology.
That is true. Yesterday I was working on a little project where we had to automate signatures for checks, right? And I brought up check signing machines. And the other two people I was talking with had no idea what check signing machine was. And it's like, no. Right. So I brought up some pictures. And there was the one that was kind of like the arm that would do it like a record needle. And then there was one that I saw that was like a claw with pens on it. And you grabbed one. And as you signed one, the other pens would move in the same place. So you would position your paper and clip them in. And you could sign 5 things at a time. And it's like, now we could just print signatures.
Yeah, and it's acceptable.
Yeah.
In the digital age. It's wet ink versus dry ink. I always love that. People have started to use that phrase with me a lot. We need a wet ink signature on this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow, you came coming up with some words instead of the digital signature. Yeah. And so that's an interesting invention you talk about right there. Somebody came up with a pneumatic movement item that you would do by hand, but then sign 5. So you got 5 times the amount of job done. I wonder if somebody was sitting back there like, oh my gosh, my check signing job is threatened at this point in time. And probably I really needed to learn another skill here.
Somebody doing deposits at a bank was worried about that.
Or did they? They just become homeless. I don't know. I can say that, I've done a lot of different jobs in my life, and I've actually only worked for maybe 3 or 4 companies at the end of the day. So like officially, I've been doing this job for a long time. But evolving as an employee, as a individual, a person, is always something anybody should strive for.
Yes.
And I learned a long time ago that change is going to come, and evolving with change is important. And if you don't evolve, you're going to fall behind.
Very true.
Accepting the change, even part of it's just accepting that change.
Never stop learning. Never stop striving for excellence.
Yeah. So if you want to really talk about how to, future-proof your job, it's not going to be mastering the art of picking things from Amazon, or placing 3 pickles onto a burger, or something that is like a square peg, square hole situation.
No.
Don't waste your time on those things. Maybe it's time to start looking into different areas. All the free training that's out there right now is tons of things. What can you do to bring value to your or a need to whatever you're working on that and maybe even more so, instead of being like, oh, those computers or that automation is going to get me, like, welcome automation. I'm glad you're here. What can I do that you don't do? Mm-hmm. And then start pointing that out. Be the human. What can we do? Can bots talk? Can bots convince an employer or a company to really go that way? Are they able to sell at the end of the day? Are they able to debate at the end of the day like that? No. Even though it's going to be hard to argue against thousands of percentage of efficiency, you don't want to fight that. No. But, at the end of the day, if you are were the potato cutter.
Mhm.
You know, maybe now you need to be the one running the bot, mastering what the potato looks like. And
Yeah.
that's your sell to your company at the end of the day.
Instead of looking for problems and complaining, look for problems and find a solution.
Yeah. Or create a new one.
Yeah.
You
Create
know?
new problems. No,
I
create
think
new
the
solutions.
AI bot robotics creates new problems.
It does.
And a lot of people don't think of those type of things. They
Mhm.
deploy, and all of a sudden you have this happening now.
Yep.
And well, we didn't think that was going to happen. Well, it did. And now what do? You
Yep.
know, there you go. Humans, there's a job for you at the end of the day. And if
Mhm.
you are the specialist, the one doing that, you are the first in line to be able to identify what the problem is and come up with a solution to it.
Yeah. I think of one of the big things when I was little, ATMs. ATMs are going to take the bank teller's job.
Yeah, right.
And that hasn't happened, but also, and maybe it's a matter of personal preference, but and I've never been a bank teller, so hopefully this isn't offensive. But it's like, what's the difference between being a bank teller and being the person on the other end of the phone helping somebody who's having trouble with their mobile banking or the ATM?
I don't know. Every bank I go into has bank tellers.
Yeah,
still, and they have ATMs as well.
Yeah.
And even sometimes the bank teller's telling me to go use the ATM.
I've had that too. Like, oh, you're just withdrawing cash. You can do that at the ATM.
Yeah, like they don't even they want you to walk over to the bot. My favorite is when I go into a bank and they have the ATM bots or the automatic teller. Well, that's what it means. Like, automatic teller machine, but I think of ATM like just getting cash.
Mhm.
I'm old. But at the end of the day, they go in there, hello, and they want to like help you use the machine. And I think that's funny. It's kind of the same thing at the cashiers at the automatic checkouts. 90% of the time I look up and I think, what does that person do now? And they're over there on their phone. They're not even paying attention to what's going on. I'm having issues. I'm like, hello, come over here.
I need an adult. Sign
in on this thing because I'm buying a chemical that you must be 18 to buy. Obviously, I'm not old enough to do that. It's reduced that person, and that job becomes what? So they're just kind of like standing around waiting for something to happen.
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever being proactive. So can a person literally go, oh, I just give up and let the tech take over the job?
You can.
And just let it live.
Give up.
I'm here until the red light flashes. I don't move.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't think. I don't try to make the line go faster to keep customer service up. It's like, you're doing all the work. So call me when you need me. I'll be over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those jobs will be replaced. Those jobs that don't require initiative or creativity, those will be replaced. We talk about ATMs. We talk about people helping at the ATMs. I've gone to Regions Bank, and I don't know if other banks are doing it, but I saw it there. They have an ATM where you can do a video call with a person if you're having trouble at the ATM, or if you need to do something like temporarily increase your withdrawal amount, or, oh, I've got to deposit more than $5,000 in checks, and that's my daily deposit limit. You can video conference somebody through the ATM right there. I've never done it. I just thought like, oh, well, that's a new job.
Hello, if you can do teledoc or your whatever application.
That's a great point.
It's wonderful. I love it.
How many doctors is that replacing? But how many people is it opening up to having access to doctors and doctors accessing more customers?
I would say it's opening up more opportunity for doctors to perform.
Yeah.
Regional, geographically. I mean, I had doctors from New York City come on my teledoc, and they're sending information in. Although they are limited in what they can do, sometimes you still have to go in to see the local doctor for certain things.
That personal touch, that last mile is still required for him.
The last mile, that's right. But at the end of the day, I can tell you most of the stuff that has to do with my kids, which is 90% of the time while I'm at the doctor, is basic things that the teledoc takes care of, and I never ever have to leave my house. So you're looking at a person who is all about AI delivery. I get my groceries delivered. Amazon is my best friend. I mean, for me to go to a store nowadays is like a adventure. And what does it look like now? Or we want to go walk around and find some stuff. But yet I still am if I can, I love it. Just having things delivered to me. It's just for me, it's the best way to go.
It is easy.
But I have this conversation with people all the time, and they're sold on the fact that they like going to the store.
Yeah.
And okay, I mean, your thing, I guess, at the end of the day. I do know I'm paying probably a little bit more of a premium, but with for my time and effort and everything I got to do for my groceries to sit on my front door and me not have to do all that is well worth it to me.
I save money by not taking my children to the grocery store.
I would agree. They usually want something out of you.
Yes.
And for those of you with children, me and Kyle both have young children, but the average toy nowadays is not like $5.
Oh. Toys are just like,
so
why do we need more Cheetos?
yeah. So, future-proof your job by being aware. Future-proof your job by adapting to change, acknowledging that change. And sometimes, you got to get off the abacus and embrace the calculator.
Mm-hmm.
And for those people who stuck around and said, this abacus is the best. And when we actually started doing math with something else, the stone tablet to paper. I'm sure there was a guy.
My beads don't go that high.
Yeah, I can't do that mathematical calculation. And calculator to computer to, for all the teachers out there. Hey, in your face, I do have a calculator in my pocket at all times, and so does he, and so does everybody else. And tip calculator and all kinds of different calculators that do stuff. And
I remember telling my 4th grade teacher, no, I'm going to keep my TI 83 plus.
I mean,
I love this thing.
I was cooking something the other day and I just asked Alexa, how many cups are in this? And it told me the conversion ratio. So I didn't have to go to my phone. I even overstepped the whole typing into Google. I just asked. Ask the AI.
I don't need a phone. I don't need a calculator in my pocket anymore.
Yeah, and then it started asking me if I wanted to buy stuff from Amazon because I asked the question. And so I was like, okay. So calm down, Amazon. I appreciate everything you want to give me and tell me about. But at the end of the day, I think that embracing it and finding your new useful path is what anybody would have to do at any kind of evolutionary stage, no matter if you were from early 1900s all the way up to 2020, going to 2023. Adapt to the technology, find where your place is with it. Maybe sometimes even understand that part of my job is dead, and I don't need to fight that. But it could be they're trying to move that part of your job away, and you are the only person who is cognitive enough to see the problem in what they're trying to do.
Yes.
And we'll just use the word they as the people who are always the man. The man is trying to take that away from you. So sometimes they don't think through everything.
That is
Deploy,
true.
And you got an issue.
There's a difference between people who are up here looking at a problem, people who are in here in the problem.
That's right. And sometimes applying that up here knowledge to the in here people is real quick to see what the problems are going to be, And so
Reddit malicious compliance is full of it.
It really is. And innovators, I mean, it's the adaptation of who runs what, right? And so we talked about GIS last week and where all that comes from and how long it takes for things to get there. But I think that's kind of the idea. So we talked today about future-proofing your job. And it's not just about tech. It's also about a mindset. It's about you wanting to grow.
More about a mindset.
I think it's more about a mindset than anything else, there's people out there that love to drive stick shift cars, and I can do it. I used to do it. I will not and cannot stand, and I could care less about ever owning one.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's just too much for me to do all at one time.
Yeah. Don't want to do it.
I like to push the button and go.
Yeah.
And there we go. Simple and easy. If you want it faster, add some more to it. You can make it pretty quick. I know Teslas can do it without a stick shift. So there's other ways, but you'll find people argue about how awesome it is to drive that stick around. And I will counter argue with you that I get to use my hands anytime I want to, and I'm not having to worry about first or second gear in Houston traffic. So
that's right.
But that's technology, that's innovation. And I find it funny today that if you want something that's more manual, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So to get a stick shift vehicle today is actually a upgrade. Compared to it used to be the cheaper car.
Used to be.
So sometimes, guys, the tech actually doesn't do what everybody wants it to do, and you just can't be superseded. So don't be scared.
And for that, I say man wins on this one because the man is innovative. Humans have abilities that bots can't do. Bots can mimic different aspects of the human's job, but humans can always push it to the next level or do something that the bot can't.
I'm with you. Without the ingenuity and cognitive understanding of the human brain, None of this works in the first place. So
Yeah.
I give this 100% to man. Man has to be the evolutionary piece to it. Can man be assisted by the tech? Yes. Can man find new ways to do things because of what the tech shows them? Absolutely. But those are all byproducts of working with technology. So you still have man in control. You still have the person in doing stuff. Absolutely. Tech becomes a tool and we become the innovators of what this tool can do. And until we actually start running into artificial intelligence and robotics that starts to procreate its ideas, I don't mean that in a making another robot type of idea, but to create or take care of an idea or solve a problem, then, you know, that's maybe when we should start getting a little bit worried. Even the chess bot who wins most of the time does get beat by the human.
Yes.
And that's a fact. So, you know, do the bots totally rule? No, Terminator. You don't win today, and you won't as far as I'm alive, because that's my life goal in life now. But yeah, absolutely. Skynet. You know, hey, we should be there. Where is Skynet? You know, we're past the date. But time travel as well. We're past that date as well. 2015 was the year. It didn't happen. So thanks, McFly. But at the end of the day, you know, humans are a big part of this situation. Always be looking to future-proof your job, no matter what you're doing, even if it doesn't have to do with technology.
That's right.
You'll become more valuable to anybody that you're doing a job for by, you know, thinking forward and adapting to change.
I concur.
So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining Man versus Tech every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Central. We got Kyle, Chris. We're sponsored by Intellis. And it was great talking with everybody today. If you guys have anything, leave it in the comments. Hit us up on YouTube, Daily Motion, on our LinkedIn Live page. Thanks for joining, everybody, and y'all have a great week.